So I just want to say hello and welcome. I think I know all of you, but just in case I don't, my name is Helen Bosman and I'm the Association Executive here at OKCMAR. And I'm going to start the round of introductions to this fabulous November lunch. I'm going to introduce you to Stephen Ligon. And he is our OKCMAR president next year. And so we're just breaking him in on presidential duties today. And he is going to be introducing our humorous speaker, Charles Marshall. So Charles is a great name, by the way, it's my dad's name. So, and I think, yes, so we're very much looking forward to Charles's presentation. And he's going to be making it really fun. And there's going to be emojis being used and all kinds of whatnot. So no one is going to snooze off in the middle. And so I'm going to turn it over to Stephen right now, and he's going to introduce Charles to you. And thank you so much for being with us today. Thanks, Stephen.
So assuming that my internet behaves, let me get my phone a little further away from me so I'm not quite so scary. Where was I? Okay, so Charles Marshall. I have no idea what you guys heard, so I'm going to start at the beginning. What I said was, I've heard great things about him as a speaker, but I've never actually gotten to hear him speak. Charles is one of the most popular humorous motivational speakers speaking today, and he has over 20 years of experience speaking to audiences all over the country. Every year he travels about 100,000 miles to perform in over 100 corporate and civic venues from New York to California. His animated delivery and original observations have captivated over 1,000 audiences over the past 2 decades, including many Fortune 500 companies. He's the author of several books, including The 7 Powers of Success and I'm Not Crazy, But I Might Be a Carrier. He also has produced and performed 2 full-length comedy videos called Fully Animated and I'm Just Saying. So with that, I believe we'll give it over to Charles.
Awesome, Stephen. I really appreciate your tenacity, my friend, and your ability to overcome obstacles. That is wonderful. You cannot be a real estate professional without having that trait. You have to be able to think on your feet and keep moving through a difficult situation. My name is Charles Marshall. You probably figured that out. And Helen, my name has never sounded better pronounced in the history of any introduction. All of a sudden you took like a $2 name and made it like a $1 million name just by pronouncing it with your accent. Thank you so much. I really need you like on my answering machine or something. We can negotiate that later. That would be awesome. And by the way, this was mentioned, I think Helen mentioned this, down at the bottom of your screen, if you take your mouse and you just hold it over your screen, there's a little button to the far right on the bottom that has reactions. I might ask you if you understood or if you got something and you might want to respond that way. Some of you know about that, some of you don't, but we want you to do that. I'm always thrown, I'm looking at Candy Keeper's picture. And when I first started doing these things, I didn't know they were stills. I just thought that people like Candace was just they were holding a smile the whole time I was speaking. But now I know, unless that's what Candace is doing, I don't know. But anyway, it's fantastic to see you guys. I thought I might start off by telling you a little bit about myself. I am a family man. Do we have any family folks amongst us? I'm just asking for reactions there. Do we have, you can just wave. I see some nods. That's awesome. I guess it's on my mind because we just celebrated my son's birthday a couple of weeks ago. And the cool thing at his age, he's just really into superheroes. He loves all the superhero movies. He loves the Avengers. He loves the Justice League. So what we thought we would do is we would get him all the action figures. And you should have seen his face light up on his birthday as he tore into these things. He's going, "Oh, Dad, this is so cool. You got me Iron Man. Wow, that's so cool. Dad, you got me Batman. This is fantastic." And immediately he starts making them play with one another or fight one another. He starts playing with his toys. He's going, "Dad, what would happen if Batman fought Spider-Man? That would never happen in the movies. And then here comes Thor and he's going to help Spider-Man." And then he sees me over there. He goes, "Dad, you can be the bad guy." And you know, as a parent, you play along. That's what you do. And so he starts chasing me around with all the toys. He's going, "Dad, you're the bad guy and they're getting you." And I'm playing along. I'm running around. I'm going, "Oh, don't get me Batman. Don't get me Spider-Man." It would be so cute, but he's like 23 years old. So I'm really just like, "Come on, dude, get a job. You can do this." But I will say this, birthdays are kind of intimidating for me these days. I am in my mid-50s, rounding the corner, coming up to 60, and that was very intimidating for me. But I thought, come on, man. Charles, you are a motivational speaker. You know that knowledge is power. So I started researching the whole aging in your 50s thing. And I found out this, some of you are in your 50s, some of you are approaching your 50s, or will be someday, hopefully. I found there are two things that happen to you when you get into your 50s. The first thing is you lose your short-term memory. You forget words and phrases that you just said. You don't even remember that you said them. That's the weird thing. They fly completely out of your mind. You forget the words and phrases. So the second thing that happens is you lose your short-term memory. You forget words and phrases. Some people get it. Some people looking at me like, oh, poor thing is happening to him right now. He doesn't even know it. But I'm doing a program today based on a grassroots bestseller book that I had a number of years ago. It is called The 7 Powers of Success. I think that's probably backwards on your screen, but trust me, that's what it says, The 7 Powers of Success. And I think success is a journey. I don't believe it's a destination. I believe that if you're going to be successful, it means growing. It means fulfilling your potential. So you're going to need a vehicle to get you there. And that's what I'm going to be describing to you in my time today, your success vehicle. So the first thing I want to talk about is the power of choice. The power of choice is the steering wheel of your success vehicle. Every decision you make, great and small, is either guiding you toward fulfilling your potential or away from fulfilling your potential in any area of your life. In your profession, in your finances, in your relationships, in your health. Are you owning the choices that you have? Everything you do is choice. The fact that you're in this meeting right now was a choice. And I realize 2 people are involved in this, but if you're in a relationship, if you're married, that you have to choose to do that. Do we have any married people just in this meeting? Can I see your hand if we have any married people? Maybe a few. I don't want to make this all about married people. Do we have any single people? Can I see your hands if you're single? Not anybody wish they were single? Let's try that. Anybody wish they were single? Could you raise your hand? No, don't do that. I don't want you to do that. But everything you do is a choice. Everything. And people say, well, I used to give a little power of choice test to my crowd. I would say, how many of you believe that your destiny is designed by your choices, and have people raise their hands? The people who raised their hands and said, yes, I own my choices, they realize that bad things still happen to you, but you have a decision about what you do and how you guide your life during those bad times. I'll give you an example. I was telling you that power choice is the steering wheel of your success vehicle. I'll tell you a little story. In 1987, I was driving down the road in my 1976 Ford Pinto. For those of you too young to know what a Ford Pinto was, it was an upscale sports car. Something like a Ferrari or a Maserati today. And oh my goodness, if you were one of the fortunate few to own one of these fine vehicles, you would be known as a person of refinement, distinction, and taste in your community. And I was driving down the road and I was T-boned by a 1980 Volvo 4-door sedan, instantly breaking 4 of my ribs, separating my AC joint and turning my left shoulder into hamburger when the driver's side window shattered. I managed to pull the car over to the road, instantly knowing something was terribly wrong with my body. I managed to pull the car over. Brave people ran over to the car. They grabbed me. And by the way, I do have a picture on my computer of the actual car wreck. Let me pull that up. I think I have a JPEG. There's my JPEG on my computer right there. You can see, if you look closely, there's the little safety bar in the door that saved my life. Before, hold on a second. before, after. So there I was. I was trapped in the car. Brave people ran over and they pulled me out of the car. And then they dragged me about 25 or 30 feet away from the Pinto, because one of the bonus features of the Ford Pinto was that they would spontaneously burst into flame with little or no provocation. You could just be driving down the road, feel a strong wind, your life's over. Listen, can I just say this? I'm going to sound like a boomer here. My generation, we didn't need extreme sports. We didn't need to parachute off of buildings and bungee jump. We drove Pintos, and it was awesome because every day you got behind that wheel, it was exhilarating because you knew it could be your last day. It made you feel alive. Anything could happen. So there I am. I'm laying on the ground and I'm bleeding and I'm hurting and the kind of pain I haven't had before in my life. And I'm only thinking two things. The first thought, see if you relate to this, is I remembered when I was growing up, my mother told me to make sure that I always wore clean underwear every day, because little Charles, you might get into a wreck and have to go to the hospital, and I don't want you embarrassing me. So, and when I'm on the ground, I'm trying to think about it. I'm trying to concentrate. I remember I had put a clean pair on that morning, but I'm wondering if after the accident, if it were still clean. I was afraid I might have had 2 accidents. I'm just being real with you here. I'm not sure. It was a big accident. Did I show you the picture? Big accident. The second thing I was thinking is I need some kind of medicinal relief here. I had some pain in my life, and I realized that kind of pain isn't going to go away without some medical attention, without some medicine. So when the paramedics arrived, I asked them, I said, is there anything you can give me for the pain? They said, no, sir, our job is to stabilize you and to monitor your vitals. Ask them at the ER. I said, okay. And then I got to the ER. I said, can you give me anything for the pain? They said, no, sir. We have to keep you lucid and alert until we finish all the tests. The only thing we have to go off of right now is just your feedback where you hurt. We'll give you something when we're done. About 2.5 hours later, they finally gave me some hospital grade pharmaceuticals. Can I see your hand if you've ever had hospital grade pharmaceuticals? Let me see your hand. If you've ever, no, hold on, I meant legally. If you've ever had, okay, that's a different set of people there. I don't know if you noticed that. 2 different groups right there. But it is this amazing stuff. It doesn't take away the pain. It just makes you care less about the pain. You're still hurting, but you're like, it doesn't, it just separates you from that pain a little bit. At that very moment, when I'm in my room, just relaxing, into my room marches Nurse Ratched. Everybody get that reference? I think it's a Netflix series now, but before that, it was a reference to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It means mean nurse. It means cruel nurse. And she walked in, and I'm telling you, this is the honest to goodness truth. She took her 2 hands like this, and she placed them on my bladder and started pressing my bladder. She didn't say hello. She didn't say howdy. She didn't say boo. She didn't say anything, just walked in and started pressing my bladder. Does that seem weird to anybody else in this meeting but me? That seems weird, right? That's strange. I didn't know what was going on. It's been a while since I've been in the hospital. I thought maybe this is how they say hello in the hospital. Hello, Mr. Marshall. How are you doing today? What's the response? I'm fine. How are you? I didn't know. That's what I'm saying. I didn't know what my response should be. But instead, I just asked her, I said, ma'am, what are you doing? She said, sir, I am checking to see if you need to void your bladder. I said, oh, okay, well, I don't need to do that, but thank you for checking. She said, sir, you may be in shock. You may not know if you need to void your bladder. I said, no, I'm pretty sure I need to void my bladder. She said, sir, I am the medical professional, and it is my opinion that you need to void your bladder. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be argumentative. I'm not a professional, but I have been the owner occupant of this body for some time now, and it is my humble opinion that I do not need to go. She said, sir, if you don't void your bladder, I am going to have to cath you. I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. She said, sir, cath stands for catheter. I go, I still don't know what that means. So she started explaining it to me. Now I'm listening, and I'm listening. She's going, and I'm going, yeah, there's a tube. Yeah, I get that. There's a tube. There are tubes all over this hospital room. Yeah, that's pretty normal. And then, okay, then it goes down to a bag. Yeah, I get that. And then you take the other end, and you know what? I think I need to void my bladder now. But it was traumatic. It was traumatic. Even to this day, it affects me. When my wife and I are getting ready to go on a trip, she'll ask me, honey, do you need to go to the bathroom before we go? And I'll be like, you know, I don't know. Could you come over here and check for me, baby? I've lost all my confidence. I'll do whatever you say. You just tell me if I need to go, and then I'll go. That's how I think. Why do I mention that? Because when bad things happen, don't let other people define who you are. When you have, does anything bad ever happen to you throughout the course of your day as a real estate professional? I was telling Courtney before we started, I am in the process right now of selling one home and buying another in another state. And can I just say, I would not even think about doing that without a realtor. Just wouldn't do it. You know why? Because I do believe in you. I'm not only a homeowner, but I'm a small-time real estate professional, or real estate. I'm not a realtor, but I'm a real estate investor. I have some rental property, but I wouldn't think about doing that for my own self-interest. It's really out of my own self-interest. There is a realtor in Florida. I did an event for the Florida Realtors Association a couple of years ago, and I wish I could remember the guy's name so I could give attribution. But there was a guy who wrote a book, and again, forgive me on the title, something like a short little book, 60 pages, called How to Sell Your Home Yourself. A realtor wrote a book called How to Sell Your Own Home Yourself. And here's the thing, when you get to about page 3, you think, this might be trickier than I thought. When you get to page 6, you realize there are about 100, 200 ways that you can die financially before you sell your home. As you sell your home. By page 10, you are lunging for the phone looking for a realtor. Because you got to know in life what you do not know. You need, if you want things done right, you need to get a professional. Fortunately, I learned about that. I have a book called I'm Not Crazy, but I Might Be a Carrier. And this was one of the choices I made that led me to the privilege of speaking to you guys today. In 1986, I believe, I was at a writers conference, and I brought a proposal because that was part of the thing, and you can have your proposal reviewed by real literary agents and real editors, and they really liked this book, I'm Not Crazy, but I Might Be a Carrier. You see that, Charles, little Charles there in a straitjacket, which I think is awesome. And that's not Photoshop. They just caught me on my normal week, my normal day. They just came over and took the picture. But after the event, I met a few literary agents, but I didn't have an agent. But I got an offer for that book. About 3 weeks later, I got an email offer for this book. The first thing I did was I opened up their attachment, and there's something like, it looked like a real estate contract. It was like 20, 30-page contract offering me the contract for this book with a real publisher, Kriegel Publishing in Michigan, in Lansing, Michigan, and I didn't know what to do with it. So I called one of the agents that I met at the event and I said, hey, could you take a look at this contract for me? He did, and the first thing he did is he struck several items and then he negotiated for more money. You need an agent. I know I'm preaching to the choir here. I know you all believe that, but if it helps you at all, I know that what you're doing is a valuable thing. You are helping people find homes in which they will raise their families and create memories forever. That's a huge, huge thing. I hope you feel good about that every day and take advantage, and don't let other people define who you are. I hope you own your choice. And if you do feel people being negative and critical of you, do what I do. Just imagine yourself react with elegance and dignity. Imagine yourself driving down the road in your Pinto, and that will give you the feeling and self-esteem. That will bring your self-esteem right back. The second power I want to mention is the power of vision. It is the windshield of your success vehicle. It is the lens through which you see the possibilities of your journey. It is seeing the end from the beginning. People of vision weren't necessarily born with it. They learned to develop that. Do you have a vision for your business? Do you have a vision for where you want to wind up with your family? Do you have a vision for your finances? If you don't have a vision, you are risking disaster. I wish I'd had more vision in my late teens and 20s. I was one of those people that laid out to get a tan. Do we have anybody that did that? Can I see your hand? You laid out to get a tan. We had to get tans, and forget about the SPF 25 or 30. We were rubbing baby oil on ourselves. We were greasing ourselves out. The really serious people had the Crisco shortening out there, slathered it on. Crisco shortened the whole pool area, smelled like Kentucky Fried Chicken. It was disgusting, but by jingo, we had tans. Now, though, I have to go to the dermatologist because I've had skin cancer. I know that that's not really a funny subject, but I've had skin cancer and overcome it. If you look real close, I won't do a close-up, but there's an inch-long scar on my nose where they cut off cancer. You got to think about your future if you want it to wind up where you want it to. There's so much more we could say about this. One, we could build the entire program about vision, and it's so important, but we're trying to get to all 7 powers today. So I'm just going to challenge you to think about your vision. Consists of 3 things. It consists of discovering your purpose. What motivates you? What energizes you? It also consists of determining your destination. Where do you want to wind up? Where do you want to be? And then it also means discerning your tomorrow. If you keep going as you are now, or have been for the past 2 years, it is reasonable to conclude that you will, in 2 years or 5 years, you will be at the exact same place, or you will be, if you're behaving your way to success, you will be someplace you want to be. So the power of choice is the steering wheel. The power of vision is the windshield, and then the power of mind is your onboard GPS. Before we had GPSs on our phone, it's even today you can program. Some of you have cars where you can just put in where you're going. I can't imagine how you would do your job. Do you guys all have GPS? I can imagine you not having GPS in your job. Let me see your hand, or a little reaction there if you have GPS. Do you have GPS? Or maybe you just know your way around so well. I am very dysfunctional with directions, so I survive with GPS. But you can't, and I find that GPS is generally good to get you within 5 minutes or 5 miles of where you want to go. Then you have to figure out the rest, right? But if you don't put in the right address, you are for certain going to wind up in the wrong place. You've got to program your mind, because you are what you eat. You are what you eat. What are you feeding yourself on a day-to-day basis to encourage yourself in your job? What are you intaking? Do you read? Well, Charles, I don't really like to read. Fine. Do you listen? There's a program called Audible on here. You can listen to books. You've got to be feeding yourself or you are going to burn out and get discouraged. You must, and you can't, and a lot of us, people in jobs that take a lot of initiative and drive, we give all day, we give, we're solving problems, we solve problems, and then we go home and then we sit down and everybody waits on us the rest of the evening, right? No, that doesn't happen at all. You have to get to work again. So you have to start taking care of everybody else. What are you doing to program yourself for success? Because if you don't, if you just leave it to accident, then you're going to burn out. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about programming. I hired a lady, an administrative assistant, who we were talking in my office, and she said that she was having a problem with dark thoughts all the time. I go, what do you mean? She goes, I'm thinking about death and dying all the time. I go, well, let's just take music. I'm a musician myself. I started out years ago playing drums and then started playing guitar. And I love music. And I said, well, what kind of books are you reading? Well, I don't read much. Well, what kind of TV shows are you watching? I don't read much. I don't watch many TVs. Well, what kind of music do you listen to? She said, my favorite type of music, my only type of music is something called death metal. I don't know if you know what death metal is. I didn't. I had to Google it. It is heavy metal music, which I love. I like heavy metal music, but it's heavy metal music that is solely concerned with death, dying, and suffering. So, and a little disclaimer here, if that's your thing, I'm not telling you what to listen to. That's not me telling you what to listen to, but I'm just saying, generally speaking, you are not going to find a lot of uplifting, life-affirming content in a form of music called death metal. They're not singing, gonna go to work and give my best effort. That's not what they're singing. They're not singing, gonna step up and take care of my family. That's not what they're doing. So all I'm saying, if you're listening all day long to death and dying and blood and guts and killing and murder and murder and blood and killing and murder and murder and murder, on the way to work, when you get there, it's going to be hard to transition to Marshall Realty. Can I help you? It's just going to be a hard thing to get to from there. Listen to whatever you want. I'm not telling you what to do. I love junk food myself, but I've found out I can't survive on junk food. So are you programming yourself? Charles, what do you do? Well, I read. I love biographies specifically. I learn a lot about life when I read, especially autobiographies, or how did that person overcome challenges? I've learned so much through that. In the past year, I've read Steve Jobs, certainly Elon Musk. Some of these I just listened to. I listened to Steve Jobs, or the book I believe was called Jobs. I listened to Elon Musk, Phil Knight, Shoe Dog, but also entertainment. I love entertainment. I've read all 3 of Carol Burnett's memoirs. Anybody remember Carol Burnett? Anybody know who Carol Burnett is? Awesome. And I'm going to give away my book. Nobody asked me to do this, but I'm going to give away a book here. So be ready. Be ready with your answer, because it's going to be the first person to reply to this. And I guess just type it in the chat if you know. I read a book by a guy named Jonathan Cain. If you can tell me who Jonathan Cain is, you're going to get your choice of 7 Powers of Success, or I'm Not Crazy. Some people are rapidly Googling it as I speak. I see you doing that, and that's not cheating. I don't care. You can go ahead and do that if you want. Jonathan Cain is a musician. You have driven down the road and sung one of his songs before. All of you, I'm looking at all of you in my gallery. You have heard his music on the radio and Googled him. And the author that wrote that book, that's true. That is a keyboardist from Journey, somebody said. Who was that? I can't see it. If for whatever reason it doesn't let me see. Who wrote keyboardist from Journey? Let me see your hand. Or I thought that was you. You looked that up, didn't you? That's good. That, you know, you have to be innovative. You have to be innovative. The name of the book was Don't Stop Believing, and I loved it. Okay, Miss Ashley, tell me, which book are you gonna want? Do you want the 7 Powers of Success or I'm Not Crazy? 7 Powers of Success, motivational, lots of story. I'm Not Crazy, but it might be a carrier. Funny little essays with a little bit of what I'm going to show you, inspiration at the end. Which one do you want, ma'am?
I would love to read the 7 Powers of Success.
I thought that's the one you were going for. I'm going to put this over here. Courtney, I'm going to send this to you, and Courtney will have it. I don't know if you can swing by there and get it, or Courtney can send it to you. But you just won that book. Give her a hand, everyone, because that is awesome. I appreciate you stepping up. It is all about stepping up. So while I'm on stepping up, that brings me to the next power of the 7 powers. We talked about the power of choice. We talked about the power of vision, the power of mind, programming yourself by inputting positive materials. And by the way, you can visit my website, charlesmarshall.net, to sign up for my monthly newsletter if you need a little bit more encouragement. All I do is write, I have 3 things in every newsletter. I have a motivational article, a humor article, and then a funny little video of me doing my live thing. So that's one way to get some motivation and encouragement into your life. The next of the 7 powers is the power of action. Do you step up? See, all of you were working. I saw several people working on the answer for that question. Do you step up? Do you start thinking of ways to solve problems? Are you the first person to raise your hand? Do you initiate? I love people who demonstrate the power of action. I love to be around them. I've been around people, I've had them in my office where they just had no initiative at all. There was one lady who, I would tell my wife, I didn't say this in front of my staff, but you tell your significant other things. I would tell her, you know what? I believe I could put a box on her desk, in between her and the screen, and she would never have asked me, a UPS box, and she would never ask me about it. If I did say, hey, Sally, were you going to take care of that? She would always have the same answer. Oh, do you want me to? I could, but if not, she would find a way to work around it. Never had any initiative. That's very difficult for me to work around. That's a difficult person for me to work with, because I'm a person who loves people who initiate. I love it, especially when I see it in business. Oh my goodness, one business we have, I don't know if you have them, that they are known for their initiative and their service is Chick-fil-A. Do you guys have those there? Oh my goodness, they kill customer service. The amazing thing about them is they rate along full service wait staff restaurants. They beat them in service. It's the most amazing thing. Somebody said, I thought this was a funny thing. Somebody said if Chick-fil-A was counting the votes, the drive staff, they would have already been counted by now, which I thought was brilliant. I thought that was an amazing thing. Yeah, they probably would, because they get you in and out of there. It's the most amazing thing. Everybody has a Chick-fil-A story. I'll just tell you mine real quick. When my son was younger, and I was kidding with you about him being 23, he's actually 16, and my daughter is 18. But when they were younger, we went in a Chick-fil-A and we loaded up the tray with the waffle fries, with the Chick-fil-A sandwich, and 4 giant shakes, 4 big shakes, just like this. And we took them to the table and we set them down on the table just like that. And my son, he was feeling kind of rowdy that day. He was telling a story, and I could tell, any of you have kids, you know where this is going. I could tell his arm was arching toward that shake, and in slow motion, I could see it, and I was like, no! But sure enough, his arm hit that shake, and boom! Shake explosion over the entire Chick-fil-A floor. Out the Chick-fil-A Chick-fil-A door across the parking lot into Burger King across the street. Massive, massive spill. But out of nowhere materialized the Chick-fil-A mop and bucket brigade. They ran out with their mop and bucket at the ready. They started mopping up, saying, thank you so much for the opportunity to serve you today. We really appreciate this. And we were like, no, thank you. And they're all together. It was like 4 people. They said, it's our pleasure, because that's kind of their thing. Meanwhile, the guy who poured the shake has noticed, he has anticipated the need, and before anyone asked him to, he pours another shake, walks it over to my son, and puts it on the table in front of him and says, don't worry about it. He can tell my son's upset. He says, don't worry about it, buddy. Everybody does that. I do that like 4 or 5 times a day myself. That would be a pretty good story of initiative, but that is only half of the story, because about 10 or 15 minutes later, my son now has sucked down most of the shake. When again, boom, shake explosion all over the floor again. The Chick-fil-A mop and bucket brigade run out. I don't know how they know. Maybe they have a bat signal or something that goes off in the back. Maybe the Commissioner Gordon calls them on the red phone. I don't know. But they're out there and they're thanking us again. Thank you so much. This is even better the second time. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Only thing that can make this any better is maybe if one of your kids had thrown up. Thank you so much for this. Where did they find these people? Meantime, the guy who poured the shake has poured another full shake. Did I tell you that the shake was almost empty? My son just got a free shake. It was almost empty. And they gave him another shake. They put it in front of him. And I'm thinking, shoot, that boy just got a free shake. He's going to be enjoying a shake in the car on the way home. So I took mine. I'm like, oh no, my shake fell. Better hurry, I'm in danger of being unhappy at Chick-fil-A. But that's how they do. That's how they are. So my question to you is very simple regarding the power of action. What do you do when the shake hits the floor? What do you do when the shake hits the floor? Because the shake is going to hit the floor sometime during your day, isn't it? What does that look like in your business? Well, it looks like first-time home buyers who nitpick every single little bitty thing. What's this right here? I don't know what this is. What is this? Well, that's just called a wall. That's just a wall. How about trouble getting people approved for loans? That happens. You work with somebody. How about you work with somebody, then they go use another realtor? How does that ever happen to anybody? Yeah. How about buyers? How about this? Where's this one? This is a spilled shake. Buyers who have been watching HGTV. Is that what it is? HGTV. You know what I'm talking about? And now they have champagne taste. I don't understand. Have y'all noticed that they say, well, this is Tim. He is a part-time DJ. And his wife, Katie, is a kindergarten teacher. Their budget is $950,000. What world are they living? I don't know how that works. I just don't get the income there. But they have champagne taste, and they're coming in going, oh my gosh, popcorn ceilings, popcorn ceilings. Calm down. It's just a ceiling. It's not a monster. It's not a politician. It's just a ceiling. It's just a ceiling. Calm down. Don't worry about it. And then they have a beer budget. We want a tricked out kitchen, and we don't want it brand new, and we've got $75,000. Can you find me that? So you spend a lot of time educating them. What my point is in regard to the power of action is, what is your reaction to that? Do you complain and whine and go, oh my gosh, look at this. We got spilled shake today. Every stinking day I come in, we have spilled shake. People just wake up thinking of stupid things to ask me all day long. What do you do in that? Do you complain, or do you just grab your mop and you just clean it up? You know what? Spilled shakes are a part of life. We're just going to go ahead and mop it up, get on the way so we can get to the other good part of our business, and that's making money and providing for our families. So yes, we have the power of choice. We have the power of vision, the power of action, the power of mind, but also the power of failure. I'm gonna, for the next two powers, I'm gonna shorten those a little bit so I can have a little bit more time to talk about the other thing. The power of failure. What do you do when you hit the wall? You have to experience, listen, I can't say this strongly enough. You have to experience hardship and failure if you are going to get to success. You have to. It's not an option, it's not a choice. You have to. If you're going to experience failure, experience success, you've got to go through the failure. Why? Because if we define success as the process of fulfilling our potential, you've got to try new things. And to try new things, you're going to stub your toe. So the question you need to ask yourself is, are you experiencing enough failure? One of the ways you can tell if you are fulfilling your potential is you can ask yourself, how many new things am I trying? How much failure am I experiencing? You can moderate and discern how well you are progressing in your quest to fulfill your potential. I have experienced tremendous failure in this job on the way to being a professional speaker. I've been doing this for 25 years, tremendous failure. I remember one crowd that I was speaking to live, and every joke that I told, it went over like a lead balloon. People were staring daggers at me like they hated me. They didn't laugh at anything. They looked mad at me. And so when I got done, honestly, I ran out of the back of the room. I ran into the men's room. I hid in the stall, and I cried my eyes out. That was just last week. So I'm just saying that, I'm kidding, but I have had bad events where it just didn't go well, but you have to go through the bad to get to the good. It's just part of life. And then the sixth one is the power. Oh, by the way, power of failure is your emergency or roadside repair kit, emergency roadside repair kit. And power of action, I skipped over that one too. The power of action is your accelerator. For those of you taking notes, the accelerator of your car. The power of failure is your emergency roadside repair kit. What do you do when you hit the wall? I hope you keep trying. I hope the main purpose of failure is to teach you. The purpose of failure is to teach you. In my book, The 7 Powers of Success, I describe it as a stern Russian piano teacher. Russian because of the discipline and the sternness, who just takes her little ruler and she wraps your knuckles whenever you play the wrong note. I'm not a big fan of that method, but that happened a lot. A lot of music teaching was done that way. So you don't have to like failure. You don't have to be comfortable with it. You certainly don't seek it out, but you do have to learn from it. Then we have the power of character, which is the frame of your success vehicle. It is the skeleton upon which all the other powers are built. If you don't have character, the whole thing falls apart. You've got to focus on your character, especially as a realtor, because your word, how people perceive you, is everything. Everything, your reputation, your character, that's what people are buying. Let me tell you, if you think you are selling houses and property, you're only half right. What you're selling is trust. You're selling expertise, and for them to buy your expertise, they have to buy you, and they have to come in the door believing that you have the character to hold their hand and get them to their destination. So character is certainly integrity, and the hardest part of integrity if we're just getting real, when I see your faces here, I kind of feel like we're friends already, and we know one another. And I flatter myself that we're all already on that plane. But let me tell you, the hardest part of integrity is admitting when you're wrong and learning from other people. Can you do that? Do you have the ability to admit that you're wrong and learn from other people. I learned this particular trait when I first got married. If you're in a relationship, you're going to have this trait. You're going to have to know how to learn from your significant other and how to listen to that person. You just have to. I'll tell you the story. My wife and I were sitting in a restaurant, and we were sitting right next to the table with the noisy kids. Let me see your hand or a thumbs up if you've ever sat next to the table with the kids that are noisy. Can I see that? Can I see you have said, okay, now how about this? Let me see your hand or a response if you have ever been to the table with the noisy kids. Have you ever been that? I have. I need to give myself a thumbs up on that. We certainly were there many times, but at that time we didn't have any kids. We just got married. And I leaned over to my wife and I said, wow, those kids over there, they are really shousy, aren't they? My wife said, what? I said, those kids are noisy. They're kind of out of control, aren't they? She goes, oh yeah, I guess they are. Then we went home, and a couple of weeks later, we lived in an apartment at that time. We had not bought our own home at that time. We heard some kids playing outside. I said, honey, those kids outside are really shousy, aren't they? She goes, now you keep using that word. What are you saying? I go, shousy, rambunctious, buoyant, out of control, noisy. She goes, you know what? I don't know what that word is. I said, yes, you do. My mama used to say it to us all the time. She would say, you kids need to quit being so shousy. She goes, honey, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I don't think that's a word. As a matter of fact, my degree was journalism. And I worked for a paper for 5 years. All I did all day long was words. That's what we did, words all day long. And I am telling you, shousy is not a word. I said, that got me riled a little bit. I said, I will bet you $1 million that is a word. It's not, if we don't really bet real money, it's just a thing that we do is since we've been married, we'll bet one another $1 million, and it's great to call the other person's bluff because nobody even wants to pretend to lose $1 million. And it's all in good fun. Sometimes she wins, sometimes I lose. We're not keeping score is what I'm saying. So this time though, she doesn't hesitate. She takes my hand, she goes, I will take that bet. And that is when I felt my first little tremor of doubt in my position. I said, all right, fine. Let's look it up. And this was when we first got married. Can I brag to you for a second? My wife and I'm just interrupting my story to tell you this. My wife and I just celebrated our 31st wedding anniversary. Isn't that awesome? 31 years. And people now are asking us, they're going, what is the secret? What is the secret of a long marriage? And I said, really, it's no secret. There's no secret at all. I'll tell you, if we have one secret, I'll tell you what it is. My wife and I, we go out on a date every single week, no matter what. We go out on a date oh no, not with each other. I'm sorry, that was misleading. No, she won't do that. We're working on that, but no, that's not what we do. So at that time, 31 years ago, I'm having this argument with my wife, and I said, fine, we'll look it up then. So I pulled it up, I got out my laptop, and I started typing. Did anyone else see a discrepancy or an error in the timeline of my story 31 years ago? No computers, no Google. I got out the 10-pound Merriam-Webster dictionary and I started looking through it, started leafing through the whole thing, started going S, S-H, S-H-O-U, S-H-O-U-S-E, no shouts, no shall-see. Now my wife, she's the opposite of me. She's very sweet and very quiet, but she still can argue. Don't think the woman can't argue. She can argue. She just does it different than me. She makes her point differently. She sees that she's over across the room. She can tell that I can't find it. So very sweetly, she goes, are you finding anything, honey? I go, no, no, I'm not finding anything. Wonder what that means when a word isn't in the dictionary. That sent me over the edge. I go, fine, I'm calling mama. I'm calling my mama. Oh, and by the way, My mom, you talk about your little journalism degree. My mama used to be a high school English teacher, and she is about to take you to school, girlfriend. That's what's going to happen right now. She's going to take you to school. You're going to learn a little lesson from my mama. She said, fine, go ahead. So I picked up the phone and I started dialing. Shoo-ga-digga-da, shoo-ga-digga-digga-da, shoo-ga-digga, shoo-ga-digga-digga-da, shoo-ga-digga, shoo-ga-digga-digga. Nobody under 30 has any idea what I'm doing right now. Shoo-ga-digga, shoo-ga-digga-digga, shoo-ga-digga-da, shoo-ga-digga. Anybody? It's obviously rotary phone. It was a weird thing. It was a weird way that we lived. You could actually wear out entire fingers just making one phone call. And heaven help you if you dialed the wrong number, if you forgot to dial the 1 or the 0 first. So somebody wants to know if I'm a trumpet player. That's interesting because of the finger thing. If anybody want to know, because that's an injured finger. That's a very observant thing, though. You have to be observant. So I got my mother on the phone finally. She goes, hello. I go, hey, Mom, it's your favorite son. No, it's Charles. Listen, I need you to answer a question. I need you to solve a debate between me and your daughter-in-law. She said, I don't know, I'll try. I said, okay, here's the deal. She goes, what's wrong? I said, I need you to tell her that Shouty is a real word. She goes, my mama started laughing. She goes, she goes, well, honey, it was a real word to us. I was like, hold on, Mama. Sweetheart, go in the other room. Mama wants to talk to me privately. I go, Mama, what do you mean it was a real word to us? She goes, well, when you kids were little, we lived down the street from a family with 10 kids, and they were loud. They were always wide open. They were running through our yard at all times of the night. They were climbing our trees. They were out of control. The name of that family was the Shouse family. And when you kids got out of control, we would say, you kids need to quit being so shousy. I said, hold on, Mama. So you're telling me that for 27 years, I've been walking around. Not only have I been walking around using a made-up word, but in addition to that, I also just lost $1 million. But how many of you, let me see your hand, think that shousy is a great word and you might use it from now on? Can I see a little, it's a good word. It's a good word. And my thinking is if I can, as I do enough of these presentations across the United States, if I can get people using this word, I can win my $1 million back. My point is, are you open to hearing what other people have to say? Because if you're going to have character, if you're going to have integrity, you've got to be open to hearing what other people have to say. Last but certainly not least, because we've talked about the power of choice, steering wheel, we talked about the power of vision, the windshield of your success vehicle, the power of mind, the GPS of your success vehicle, the power of action, the accelerator of your success vehicle, the power of failure, your emergency roadside repair kit, the power of character, the frame. Now we're going to talk and we're going to end with the power of belief, the engine of your success vehicle. We all need people to believe and invest in us. One of the big strengths of an organization like this is that it offers you the opportunity to speak into someone else's life. It offers you the chance to hear what other people have to say. I am one of those people who is of the belief that everyone should have, and it doesn't have to be official, but everyone should have a mentor and a protege. You should have somebody who you're learning from and who is speaking into your life, and you should have some people who you are training. It should be that people are coming to you and say, Lydia, I have a big problem. You've got experience that they don't have. They need to hear it. And is it Gabriella? That's a beautiful name. They're saying, Gabriella, can you help me? I just got an offer, and somebody wants to offer something, and it doesn't seem right. My realtor for my buyer's realtor just told me about an offer yesterday that was emailed. They didn't fill it out. It was emailed, and she was going, I don't know. This realtor seems like they must be new or young, but they didn't fill out any of the offer. They didn't submit an offer. They just kind of emailed it. And somebody, I wonder if that person has somebody walking with them to say, hey, if you want to be taken seriously, if you want your offer to be taken seriously, it's got to look like a real offer. It's got to be filled out as a real offer. And you have that kind of information. You know that, and you have the ability to impart that. I would not be here if people had not spoken into my life. I wish I had the time to tell you the story of Mr. Mullins, who was my junior high band teacher. Do we have any former band students in the room? Any band people at all? Band people at all? I'm the only geek in the room. Okay, awesome. Steve is with me. Steve, could you tell me, do you have the ability to just in the chat tell me what you played? What instrument you play? Trombone. That is so interesting. That was my second choice. My first choice was drums, but I did not make it. I had no experience. I had no experience at all holding drumsticks, playing the drums. We had 6 positions open. I was terribly shy. I had a horrible self-image because this was in junior high. You find out where you stand socially in junior high, don't you? Either you have to have money, you have to have looks, you have to have some kind of skill, your family have to have some sort of position, and I had none of it. We were poor. Did any of you grow up poor? Let me see your hand if you grew up poor. Now I'm talking about poor. Did you grow up poor? Did any of you have to wear hand-me-down clothes? Let me see. Did you have to wear hand-me-down clothes? I had to wear hand-me-down clothes, and all I had was older sisters. You try looking tough on the playground wearing a yellow sundress and white sandals. You can't do it. People say to me, they say, Charles, did you really, is that just part of your little program, or did you really wear hand-me-down clothes from your sister? I literally wore hand-me-down clothes from my older sisters. I have a specific memory of my mama holding up a pair of pants in the 70s, my sister's pants, trying to talk me into wearing them to school in middle school, where you can be ripped apart. And she's talking to me. She's going, it'll be cool. You look cool, Charles. I'm going, no, Mama, I won't. This was the 70s, people, when think Brady Bunch, okay? There was a flower print down each of the pants. Flowers, but big flowers like this all the way down. Big bell-bottom flowers all the way down. My mama said, wear them, nobody will notice. Well, guess what? They noticed, but fortunately, middle school kids are known for their compassion and understanding for each other. So it wasn't a problem at all. So into that whole thing, Mr. Mullins came, my junior high band teacher. I played another instrument, not trombone. We couldn't afford a trombone, Steve, a con trombone back in the 1970s. We couldn't afford it, but I went to quit band in 7th grade, and Mr. Mullins gave me another chance to try out for the drums, and I made it. And within 2 weeks, we had tryouts. And within 1 month, even though the other 6 drummers had a 1-year head start on me, within 1 month of starting to play drums, I earned first chair and held on to it throughout the rest of my junior high year. You say, why is that, Charles? Because you were so talented and amazing. Yeah, kind of. That's what I'm saying. No, I'm kidding. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's because somebody believed in me. So somebody by the name of Mr. Mullins believed that I had what it took. And moreover, he made me believe it. So I wouldn't be here if it weren't for people like you, people who came alongside and encouraged me in dark times. That is really all the time I have. You guys have been amazing. Thank you for sitting there and hanging out with me during the lunch meeting. It would have been awesome to spend time with you in person. Maybe we'll get to do that one day. But I really had a great time. Thank you for getting Shouty with me. I think we should do this next week again over at my house. You guys going to be there? Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Back to you, Courtney.
Thank you. That was awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, we miss a little bit when we don't have the live environment. So, but if you've all got your microphones open, we can all give them a round of applause. Yay! Thank you, Charles. Yay! Thank you. That was really great. We really appreciate you, and I know that that they're going to appreciate that book as well. So thank you so very much. And you know, one great thing about the pandemic is that we've had to rethink how we do these luncheons. And you know, we are not spending the money on food and a location, so we're like, this is great, so we can bring in some speakers that we wouldn't normally have been able to do, what with their travel schedule and, you know, dates and what have you. So it's been I think it's been really great to bring in some different people that you guys have got to see, and so hence Charles being with us today. So thank you so much, Charles, and thank you to you guys for being with us. we I see a side career in finger puppets for him, but we really appreciate it. So thank you. We have one more lunch this year, and one more month this year, amazingly, and it's the beginning of December the 3rd, and it's going to be Brian Copeland, who's quite well known at NAR, and he's going to be swearing in the boards. Gonna get that kind of sorted out and out of the way to begin with, and then he's going to be speaking to us, and then we will be speaking to Mr. Ligon tomorrow, and we'll be shaping up his year. So you get to him before I do tomorrow. So if you've got any great ideas about what you'd like us to do next year, this is your chance to get hold of Mr. Ligon before things get nailed down. Get your thoughts in there, and we will see what we can do. So that's all the riveting information I think I have today. So I thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Charles, for leading this for us, and we'll see you next month. Thank you.